faster sooner. I just need a full factory reset.
All right, guys. Thank you for sticking around for my part 2 here, which is going to be some problems that what are called C3 plants. They're called C3 plants because they make 3 carbon sugars. What did we call those in our last lecture? G3Ps. So plants that make G3Ps have a few issues. Okay? Now remember, plants have these little openings called stomata. They kind of look like 2 bratwursts side by side. They can pump them full of water and they'll close up. It's almost like hold your mouth shut. You can't see my mouth. I have a mask on. Okay? When they really want to let CO2 in, they have to be open. So plants can't, what a human would call breathe, plants can't breathe without opening their stomata. Now, one of the main ingredients of photosynthesis is water. If plants open these stomata up and it's really, really hot out, the water tends to leak out through them. Not like in drops of water. It's not where dew comes from. In Ohio, when it's super humid out, a lot of that humidity is the water that's being lost by plants. Okay? So we're getting into some like environmental meteorology stuff. So on very hot days, these plants close up. If you can only breathe through a small hole, what's it going to do to your rate of photosynthesis? It's going to decrease it way down. Okay? If you can't, now remember, these holes, plants also get rid of their O2, which for them is a waste product. Okay? If you can't let things out of your stomata, oxygen builds up. Okay? Oxygen would be, let's just review real quick, see if you're paying attention. Oxygen is a waste product of light reaction or Calvin cycle? That's right, the light reactions. That's good. So, this is bad stuff because rubisco, which is the enzyme, gets sort of inhibited by oxygen. When it gets inhibited by oxygen, it takes ATP to fix that problem. That's what we would call a waste of energy, okay? So, the nice thing about most C3 plants, they don't live in a super hot environment all the time. So they only have to do this when things get extreme. And if it's super hot for a really long time in the summer, plants don't do so well. Okay? A lot of times people think, oh, warm plant, good. Not always. Okay? So, how do plants deal with this? Well, they have evolved. Plants that live in, I'm going to put mine over top this corn right here. All right, I grew up in the land of corn, so that's appropriate. Plants that live in hot, dry climates, they have evolved. Some things we're going to talk about here. Okay, let's go through these 2 adaptations. Okay? Again, I'm going to cover up some corn. All right, the first one, we're going to call these C4 plants. Guess how many sugars they make? How many carbons are in the sugars they make? 4. The C4, it's not from some action-adventure movie that blows up stuff. It's a sugar with 4 carbons. How do they do this? They have what's called spatial separation. What does spatial mean? That means it happens in different spots, different spaces, okay? By putting these things in different spaces, they're able to deal with the problem of the hot weather, okay? So the stomata partially closed, they kind of go to a medium state, and that conserves the water. They have mesophyll cells, and the mesophyll is just sort of the middle tissue of the leaf. And their cells make a 4-carbon sugar. They're going to transfer that to a special area, okay? Spatial, so that 4-carbon goes to a special place called the bundle sheath cells. Now, interestingly enough, what do you call a big bundle of corn that your mom puts on the porch for a fall decoration? A corn sheath, okay?
Oh, I didn't know that.
All right. So, anyway, that's what you call like a bundle of grain. There's one on the state seal.
Oh.
Okay. Once they get to that area, they release some CO2 to be used in their Calvin cycle. Now, what does this? Well, humans have figured out that these plants do things. A lot of these plants are cultivated. A lot of the calories in human beings are made from 4C carbons, okay? Because most calories that human beings eat come from grains. So that's things like corn, okay? Now, when I say grasses, you like look out at your lawn and say, well, I don't eat grass, Mr. Sater. But wheat, oats, barley, those are all technically grasses. They're grasses with really big seeds that we grind up into flour and make all the things we eat. All right. Sugarcane, too. Sugarcane is one of the most efficient plants at doing this, and it is a grass, okay? There's another way this happens. These are called CAM plants. Now, C4 plants did it in different spots. CAM plants do it at different times, okay? CAM plants kind of hold their breath all day when it's hot so they don't lose their water. And they open their stomata at night and they bring their CO2 in. They store that CO2 as organic acids in different vacuoles. And see, you thought vacuoles were just for water. Well, look at this, okay? So during the day, the light reactions occur, and they're going to use the CO2 that they brought in at night. So they're going to bring in the CO2 at night. Why bring it in at night? Because what are they trying to stop losing? Water. So it's cooler at night. So this is kind of like I'm gonna button things up during the day when it's hot, so my water doesn't come in or come out. And then I'm going to open up at night when it's cool, keep my water in, bring my CO2 in. I'm going to hold my CO2 until the sun comes up. And when the sun comes up, I'm going to close my stomata again so I don't lose my water. What kind of things do this? Okay? Pineapples. Everybody likes a good pineapple. Cacti, which is the plural of cactus. Okay? Succulents and jades, which are really hot right now. Everybody put them in your room with a little pretty rock, you know. All right. So, what we went through today are just some adaptations that plants are going to use to overcome these problems. What problems are they overcoming? Problems related to hot, dry climates. They're trying to conserve water by two different methods. C4s do it in different spots. It's called spatial separation. CAM plants do it at different times. So there's multiple adaptations plants can use to overcome this water conservation problem. We're going to go ahead and finish today with those two different adaptations.